SDG. I am here with you at the Winchester branch where today we are going to be making some snow sculptures. Now, if you've ever made a snow sculpture before, maybe you don't need all the tips that are in this video, but what I will tell you right now is that we are going to have a competition across SDG over the next month until the end of March break. And in that time, I encourage you to get outside, make a snow sculpture, and submit it to our SDG library. That can be at programs@sdglibrary.ca, or if you want to tag us on social media, we would love to see what snow sculptures you make at home. Now make sure your very first step is going to be choosing what you want to build. I am going to be building 2 items today, and I have to make sure that whatever amount of snow I build up is going to be large enough to then break down from. You can use whatever shape your container is totally fine, because you're going to be removing snow off of that shape, but do make sure that it is large enough for whatever you have in mind. I do recommend things that are simple, okay? Something simple like your favorite animal, your favorite food, or if you really want to challenge yourself with something a little more detailed, maybe your favorite character from your favorite book or your favorite movie. Okay, so I wanted to just test some tools to give you guys a bit of an idea of what kind of different effects you can make. For this idea, I'm only using at the moment kitchen tools. You can also use something from a tool belt, or maybe some gardening tools. Those things might be helpful for you, but I wanted to grab things that I knew most people would have in their kitchen. So I grabbed a spoon, a butter knife. This is a little pick for opening cans. This is a steel reusable drinking straw, and cheese grater. So these different items are going to have kind of different effects, so that's why I wanted to grab different things to show you guys what different tools you can use when you're working with your piece. So I'm just going to attempt to make maybe the letter C for my name, because this is just my example one, but I'm going to work on something a little nicer to have up at the library. So starting with my C, I'm going to maybe give myself a bit of an outline with my knife, kind of give me an idea of where I want that to be. So I know how much I'm going to be taking away from my sculpture. And of course I want my sculpture to have a pretty good base. So I want the top of my C to be very well defined, but the base of it's going to be a little thicker, so that way my letter doesn't fall apart on me, okay? Of course it is going to eventually melt, and it will eventually fall apart, but you want it to stay nice for at least a little while. Okay, there's kind of a general shape of what my C will be. So now I just have a bit of an idea of what more I can take away from my piece. So your knife, it's going to mostly give you some straight lines, obviously. Something like your cheese grater, that is supposed to be able to take a lot away. So if I have a lot on the side to take away, I can grate away, and it leaves some pretty nice smooth edges. Okay. That I can almost get it curved the way I want it for my letter. And that's going to take a lot of bulk away. So when I get into smaller details, I don't want to be using the cheese grater, but it is pretty nice around the outside. Your spoon can be used for anything like you would use your food. Anything you want to scoop away. Okay. Some of the other things you can be using. So I had my little pick if I wanted a sharper edge. Similar to what your knife has. That makes a really nice scrape. That one's kind of nice. It's got a bit, this one has a bit of a curve to it, so it kind of scrapes it away nicely. Probably scrape out the middle as I'm going. And the straw, I was thinking if I wanted something cool like dots in it or something, I can make some little holes. This is something you can also do with a drill if you have permission to use such things. But like I said, this is something that's a little safer. I want, as kind of my number one thing, is that I want whatever tools you're using to be ones that are safe, ones that you're allowed to use. Make sure you ask permission if you're not sure at home, okay? You're best to begin with a block of snow, from which you will then be removing snow. Over here I've got recycling bin, I've got a Tupperware container. I do recommend whatever container you fill with snow to be made of a plastic or something slippery that the snow will slide out of once you've packed it in. It is important that you pack the snow in. One other tip for this is to do it on a day when the snow is sticky. If it's a day somewhere between like 2 degrees and -5 degrees, you have perfect conditions. Now, if it is kind of like me today and the snow is a little bit too fluffy, it just fell and it's a cold day, one recommendation I can make for you is to put it in your bin and then bring it inside, either inside the garage or somewhere warm where it can melt just enough that the snow will then get sticky before you place it where you plan on making your sculpture. Okay, so for this part, I'm only going to show you some pictures with some video. I'm sure you'll very quickly realize what it was that I was making. I began by outlining my projects. Then I moved to the cheese grater, which was my favorite tool. It was especially great for when I was creating the book because it actually made a lot of the lines of the pages for me. It's great. It removes a lot of the excess snow from the outside and helps you shape the outside of your sculpture really well. You'll notice that I then changed to a spoon. The one that I used is actually not my kitchen spoon. It happens to be from a little snow sculpture gift set that my son had, and it worked really well because it was plastic. It's very safe and slid nicely. Big tip, please don't give up halfway through. As you can see, my sculptures look a little rough towards when I'm in the middle, but as you continue and as you get down to those final details, it will really start to turn out beautifully. So you can see the first option I created was a book with Connect, Create, Explore for our SDG motto, as well as SDG for our library. The finished product I'm really happy with. It was a lot of fun having a lot of people walking by and asking me about the project. Last thing, I want to remind everyone, please enter our contest. We will close the contest March 20th after March break. Please send your pictures to programs@sdglibrary.ca or tag us on social media so we can see what you came up with. I'm Alice Chantal. Thank you for hanging out with me today. Good luck with all your sculptures.